Today, we're diving into a story that could seriously redraw the strategic map of South Asia. A brand new military alliance is taking shape, and it's all happening because of a sudden political shift, and it centers on a fleet of advanced fighter jets.
So here's the headline. Pakistan and Bangladesh are deep in talks for a major defense deal. And this isn't just some routine arms sale, it's a huge move that signals a fundamental realignment in a region that's, long been dominated by other powers.
So what exactly are they talking about buying and selling? Well, the hardware on the table tells you a lot about just how serious these discussions really are.
What's so interesting here is how comprehensive this deal is. We're not just talking about selling a few planes and calling it a day. The main event, for sure, is the JF-17 Thunder fighter jet. But look at what else is included. Super Mushshak trainer aircraft and, this is the really crucial part, a complete package that includes pilot training and long-term support. This isn't a one-off purchase. This is the groundwork for a deep, long-term strategic partnership.
You've got to understand why the JF-17 is so important. It's basically the crown jewel of Pakistan's military-industrial complex, and it was developed with China. So for Pakistan, selling this jet isn't just about money. It's about projecting influence and proving that its homegrown defense tech can compete on the world stage.
And that brings us to the big question. Why now? For decades, a deal like this would have been absolutely unthinkable. To get why things are changing, we have to look at the dramatic political earthquake that just rocked Bangladesh.
You can see how fast this all happened. Back in August 2024, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who had a very close relationship with India, had to flee the country after these massive protests. Well, that created a huge diplomatic rift between Dhaka and New Delhi. And almost immediately, that created an opening for Pakistan. Direct trade started up again, and now, just a few months later, their Air Force chiefs are meeting to talk about a strategic military pact.
So the takeaway here is this really stark contrast. Before all this, Bangladesh's foreign policy was firmly anchored to its alliance with India. But now, under a new interim government, Dhaka is actively pivoting toward Pakistan. It's a complete 180.
All right, let's zoom out a bit, because this partnership is part of something much bigger. This deal is sending ripples across the entire region, and it's signaling that a whole new dynamic is coming into play. The progression here is just so clear. It all kicked off with a domestic political change that immediately opened the door for restoring economic ties, and now those economic ties are becoming the foundation for military cooperation. It's a textbook example of just how fast geopolitical alignments can change.
I really want to pause on this for a second, because you can't overstate the historical significance here. For more than 50 years, since the war that led to Bangladesh's independence, there was no direct trade. The fact that ships are now sailing between Karachi and Chittagong again, that is a monumental shift. And it's the essential backstory for these military talks.
But look, this isn't just about politics for Pakistan. There's a powerful economic engine at work here, and it's absolutely key to understanding what's motivating Islamabad. $4 billion. That number right there gives you a sense of the scale of Pakistan's ambition. The country recently signed a $4 billion arms deal with the Libyan National Army. These are huge, nation-altering sums of money, and it really shows that Pakistan sees its defense industry as a major economic driver for the future. And just listen to this incredibly bold statement from Pakistan's defense minister, Khawaja Asif. He's basically claiming their weapons industry is becoming so successful that it could free the country from relying on IMF loans. That is an unbelievably confident, almost defiant thing to say about your country's economic future. And this really puts it all in perspective. It's not a one-off thing. You've got that massive deal with Libya, another big JF-17 sale to Azerbaijan, and now Bangladesh is popping up as the next major potential customer. It's a clear, deliberate strategy to become a major player in global arms exports. So, where does all this go from here? Well, the future of this whole budding alliance really hinges on one major event that's just around the corner.
And this is the critical thing to remember. The current government in Bangladesh is just an interim one. General elections are coming up on February 12th, and the outcome of that election is very likely going to determine whether this pivot to Pakistan becomes permanent policy or just ends up being a brief chapter in the history books. The fate of this whole skyward alliance is hanging in the balance. So, ultimately, what you should take away from all this is that while the headlines are all going to be about fighter jets, the real story here is about the tectonic plates of geopolitics shifting under our feet. This potential deal is one of the clearest signals we've gotten yet that the old alliances of South Asia are being questioned, and a new, pretty uncertain landscape is starting to take shape.